Now the floor to Mr. Bullock, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your presentations. I've found them interesting. I can say that a free Britain outside of the EU looks forward to working cooperatively with you. We've heard a lot, which is really Project Fear going on at the moment about, gosh, this might happen, that might happen. We've heard this all before. I go back to when I worked in Westminster when Britain didn't join the euro. We were told that Britain's economy would suffer, that big car companies would leave Britain, that we had a bad future ahead of us. Of course, we didn't join the euro and we prospered economically and are still the fifth largest economy in the world. We were told, of course, that immediately after the referendum there'd be enormous job losses, there'd be all sorts of emergency budgets, for example. None of this happened because it was all Project Fear called out by the Remainers who didn't want us to leave. That was political arguments at the time. These things happen in elections and referendums, but they have been proved absolutely wrong. And what we're hearing now is Project Fear Mark II. And we've heard a little bit about logistics and supply chain. I worked for 5 years as Director of Policy at the Chartered Institutes of Logistics and Transport, which included a big element of the supply chain industry. And I know how supply chain works. I was involved in forums of that, and I can tell you that these things aren't as problematic as being made out. Britain, for example, already trades with many countries on what's called World Trade Organization rules. This isn't a problem. This will be overcome. I can even see with a so-called no deal, we could have side deals which would make things work perfectly well indeed. So I think we need to take these arguments with very much a pinch of salt. I think there's a great future for Britain outside of the EU, working together with the EU and, of course, with the rest of the world. My colleagues tell me that they've been told by other MEPs that, my gosh, you're leaving, etc. Well, I can tell you I've been told by MEPs, particularly those of my Italian colleagues and everything, I wish we were leaving with you. So, it works both ways. So I look forward to our future outside the EU. They talk about a second referendum because they lost the first people's referendum, which was the largest ever democratic vote in the UK. And I'm afraid they're in denial. They can't accept the result of that referendum. And of course, it wasn't just a referendum. It was a referendum where the government explicitly said, we will implement the result. Not have a second referendum, not keep having it until we get the result we want. And of course, if you ever go against a democracy, if you ever stop the result of an election or a referendum, absolutely disgraceful to do such a thing. But we've seen it done in other countries, but it won't happen in Britain. I look forward to the future. Thank you.